it sounds weird, but like I'm almost already over this season. Like I have high hopes for McLaren to be actually like the general public is now out of like 160,000 poll results. They think McLaren's going to be the most likely to challenge Red Bull. I don't think anybody's challenging Red Bull, but I'll be happy with a P2 in the constructors in my papaya if that happens this year.
That's a hot take as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, Jensen Button said it's Mercedes that's going to challenge, so.
Every British journalist that's paid by F1 TV or Sky thinks Mercedes is going to be there. And they have a right to say that, but they got to show us something. Maybe we'll come with like a 3/4 pod design at preseason this year and be like, oh, we cracked the code. And then, nope. I don't know.
Based on their pod design, our podcasting duration will be directly related to that. So if they come up with a 3/4 pod, every podcast will end abruptly at 3/4 of when it actually finishes recording. And I can make that promise to you, listener, because it's not happening.
Tune in next episode to see if Todd actually gives a shit about Formula One this season.
No, that's not what my point was. I'm really excited to see what another true
3/4 cut.
True, like, yes. What another true constructor in Formula One will do. Audi's got big money. The Vag is serious about Formula One. That's Volkswagen Automotive Group before anyone has any qualms about how I speak.
Save this conversation before it dries up.
But
the money.
I'm really excited for 2026, I guess.
Yeah, but then you understand.
Is it 25? Now I'm second guessing myself. I don't know if Audi's taking over team name or the team until 25 or 26. I think it's probably 26 with the new regs. Makes most sense.
I thought it was 26, but they can start branding the team in 25. And if we're wrong, Iron Trev will let us know, and we can do one of our many.
Shout out Iron Trev. I love getting. This is another tangent, but I get a text almost every podcast from either Aaron or Trevor saying, what is it?
Father urges.
Father urges. Okay, it's probably it'll probably happen then.
So now Pops is in the same corner with Audi. Anyway, sorry. You get a text from
For context, Nick was just showing us his phone screen with an article of Carlos Sainz Jr. urging his son to go to Audi.
Yeah.
Because we all just went silent there.
Always.
The fuck was I going to say?
It's okay.
Aaron and Trevor text you.
Yes, Aaron they text me every episode with their notes on the rebuttal to whatever bullshit we spout off during the podcast. I love it.
Here's the thing, Aaron and Trev, we're going to tell you what to do. Start your own podcast. Be a complete rebuttal. Be the ether to our Jay-Z song. And just fact check us every single time that you can. Because who knows? But my whole thing with Audi is...
we've got to encourage the silencer to the Exhaust Notes podcast. Should be their name. They should just be called the Silencers or the Mufflers. Yeah. We'll run it. We'll just run it back to back so people can listen to them argue back.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. We need an around the horn to our PTI, even though I think we have more around the horn energy. But what I will say this: we know Audi's coming. We know that they have truckloads of money. What will let me know how serious their intentions are is if we all believe what's happening and we think it's going to happen, which is Carlos Sainz is going to be their driver. Who's their number two? Because that will tell me a lot about what their aspirations are.
Mick Schumacher.
You think Schumacher?
Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't really think about that.
To me, go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
I just hadn't thought of that. Go ahead.
I feel I know. I have a feeling, and F it, I'm just going to debut one of my hot takes today, and then we can refine it when we have the actual hot takes episode. I think half of the big three grid will be reversed, or will be completely replaced next year, and I think George Russell's about to join Audi alongside Mr. Sainz.
I don't think so. I don't think, because they know they're losing Lewis.
Are they, though? Like, he just signed another 2-3 year contract. He's not going to...
I feel like he's about to pull an Alonso. Like, anything you can do, I can do better.
Which would be the pettiest move.
It would really be Alonso-like to try to be out-petty Alonso. but race into his 40s. I agree with that. He's 39 now. I don't think he's done in the next 2-3 years, but he is done at some point. And George is to Mercedes as Sainz is to Ferrari right now. He's a head down, put in the work, get a quiet P4 every race.
He's got a little bit more, what would you say, spice in his tea? Is that a British metaphor? If not, we'll make it one.
He's definitely not spicy. He's a hall monitor.
But he's the most annoying hall monitor. Like, he's obnoxious in terms of how good of a hall monitor is he. I mean, there's a reason why he's the president or whatever. But it goes to this. If we think Lewis dog-walks him like Lewis dog-walked him last year, like, why should I retain George Russell then? Is it just the fact that there's nobody else on the grid that represents that potential? And I get that potential is the sexiest thing to an athlete, but eventually he's going to have to put Lewis away. Otherwise, in my mind, his career will never be what we expect it to be. Like, he has always been spoken about in this hushed tone of he's next. He's the next big thing. He's going to take down the world. He's a future world champion. And the way that his career seemingly is panning out right now, he just looks like Charles Leclerc with a British accent, which is he's never going to get there. He has these emotional outbursts. And yes, he's a nice guy, but I don't see the ruthless killer I've always been trained to think about when I think about George Russell.
I think that's fair. Yeah. I mean, going back to the Audi side of that, I think it has to be Alex Albon. Like, he's the most potential in the worst place. You know, like, he obviously is not going to get a seat at Red Bull again. He's not going to get a receipt. He's not going to get a receipt. He's not going to get a seat in a McLaren or in a Mercedes. But I think he easily stands out from the bottom half of the drivers on the grid right now as, like, this guy could do much better in a better car.
But could he? Because we have the Red Bull. He was in, the second fastest car at the time in the Red Bull, and he crumbled under the pressure more often than not.
Yeah, I agree with you. Wasn't he 19 or something?
I mean, he was young, sure.
He's 27, so he was 23 when he was on Red Bull? Okay, cool. At the same time, I think he's done two of the most impressive things I've seen anyone on the grid do, which is that immortal, was it even a one-stop that he had with Williams? Remember? He had no pit stop.
The last lap pit stop in Australia?
Yeah, like, that was impressive. He's consistently gotten more points out of that car than anybody that I think. And that speaks to him. And dare I say it, he may be a top 8 driver in the world if we don't look at the actual metric of success, which is points scored by a driver. Because I think that's more attributing to the car, not necessarily the driver.
I agree with you. I think he's in the top half, if not higher, of driver talent in Formula One. I don't, because of what happened in Red Bull, I don't know if he can handle the big team. And
I think he can, just because of what he went through in Red Bull. And I think more often than not, people coming out of the Red Bull program are often cast in a sympathetic light whenever they are in the meat of it or when they've left it. And I do think that his ability to handle it the best, and granted that's like being the shortest midget or I don't know where the hell I was going with that analogy. Please don't cancel me. But at the same time, very tangential. We're also in preseason as well, listeners. So I'm sure the takes will get tightened up, as will my vernacular and my diction. But at the same time, like, he is going to, once again, probably be the most impressive driver not in the top 3 teams.
Yeah, but it's easy to, when you absolutely stomp a mud hole in your teammate by winning the
I don't even remember who his teammate is. Maybe it's some private dude. I don't know. But the fact that he was able to get that result in a comparable car to George Russell, ironically the guy that I keep comparing him to this year, what was more impressive? Any George Russell season in the Williams car, or what Alex Albon did last year?
I mean, I go really Albon hard in that, but.
Yep. Anyway, enough of my Alex Albon soapbox. If he joins Audi, then I have a new team of choice, which will be the Carlos Sainz, Alex Albon Audi-led squad in 2026.